Today I'm going to make something called egg strata. This is going to be similar to quiche, but it actually has bread cubes inside of there. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful recipe. So here we go. I'm going to start with some butter. Get some butter in the pan, just kind of let it melt up and get all happy with itself. Okay? I like using a wooden spoon. I have some shallots here. This is 1 shallot. I also have 1 clove of garlic. I kind of play around with herbs. This is thyme and parsley. I would probably say you could do maybe a teaspoon of each. I have a tablespoon and then a teaspoon of the thyme. Very, very wonderful. This is goat cheese. I love goat cheese. This is cheddar cheese. Honestly, when it comes to cheese, I always say you can never have too much cheese. So whatever your heart tells you, I always encourage you, cook with your heart. A recipe really is a guideline, especially when it's cooking. If it's baking, it's more of a map and you have to follow what it says. But in this case, this is more of a guideline. So if you love cheese, give it some cheese. If you want a little bit less cheese, hold back on your cheese, but definitely play around with it. Either way, it won't ruin your recipes. Whatever your taste says you like, that's what it should be, okay? So, my butter is nice and melted and sizzling. I'm going to add my shallot in there. Just kind of saute that up just a touch. Let it sit. Okay? I also have some spinach. And these are my bread cubes. I just took white bread and just cut it into cubes. This is actually wheat bread or honey wheat. You can use white bread, you can use sourdough, you can use French bread, whichever one you want or whichever one you have too much of in your house. I usually find that the ends of the bread really work out great too, because normally in our house we just skip past the other pieces and go straight to the middle pieces, but not the end pieces to kind of get left out. So that's a good way to actually use up those end pieces if you have those kind of sitting around your house, okay? So I'm gonna go to my eggs over here. Anytime you crack your eggs, I normally like to crack my eggs on the inside of the pan instead of the side like that. If you crack it on the side, you kind of encourage more of the shell to get inside of there. So I'm gonna crack it on the inside. Say, for example, if you happen to get a shell inside of your egg, the best thing to do is to use the shell to get it back out. It comes out way easier, and that way you're not chasing around those little egg shell pieces inside of the egg that you can hardly ever get out. But if you use a shell, it comes out a lot faster. There's my shallot. Next, I'm actually gonna put my garlic a little bit later. I'm actually gonna go ahead and add my spinach. It looks like a lot of spinach, but it's actually gonna cook down and wilt pretty well. Let that kind of wilt up like that. It's gonna shrink down and wilt up. There you go. All those little pieces to come together. Excellent. You can put some of any vegetable you want to in here. Bell peppers, name it. You can definitely play around with it, okay? I'm gonna turn this off. I just wanna lightly wilt it. After you turn it off, then you can go ahead and add your garlic, because it's still going to keep cooking, but I don't want to overdo my garlic. I don't want the garlic and the garlic mainly to really burn. If the garlic burns, then it turns bitter and then the flavor is just not going to be the same. So that's why I wait to turn it off and then put in my herbs as well too, so I can just kind of lightly bring out some flavor and love out of that. Oh, it smells wonderful. Okay, so now I'm going to take my eggs. I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper to this mixture here. Okay, I'm also going to add some heavy cream. This is also going to help with my bread crumbs, or bread cubes. Bread crumbs would be good in there as well too. Okay, give that a nice mix. You want to mix this thoroughly. Okay, then I'm going to take all this and pour it right into there. Okay, get all those little extra pieces that try to hang out in there. Get all those in there. Then I want to change my utensil from the whisk, because if I keep using my whisk, everything's going to stick inside and it's just going to be so annoying to try to get it back out. So go ahead and use a spoon or a spatula, either one is fine. And go ahead and give that a nice mix. Okay, now I'm going to go head over. I'm going to dump in my breadcrumbs, bread cubes. I'm going to put in about half of my cheese, because I'm going to reserve some of this cheddar cheese to put on top. And then my goat cheese as well. I'm just actually going to use my spoon to break up that goat cheese inside of there. This is going to be a very, very nice and creamy egg strata. Make sure you're pressing that bread in there as best you can. Now, a trick to actually make this go a little faster is to put all this back in the pan. So, I'm actually going to show you that little trick. If you put it back in your pan, put a touch of olive oil in your pan so everything doesn't stick to it and just get weird. Also have a buttered dish. You can use, as you actually put it in the same pan and leave it in the pan and let it cook inside the oven. I'm just going to put it in the dish just because it's kind of pretty. Okay. Get your pan nice and hot. Now, all this wonderful love goes right into your pan. Make sure you get all those cheese pieces, all those little parts. Scrape it right in here, okay? I'm going to actually cook this pretty fast. What I really want this to happen, I just kind of want it to come together a little bit, kind of thicken up some, so that way it won't take as long inside the oven. Don't be scared to kind of give it a little toss like that, okay? A little bit more. I'm almost ready for this to go in my pan. I'm actually ready right now. I don't want it to be completely cooked in this pan. I want to do the rest of its cooking right in here. Okay? Now, give a little shake like that. What's going to happen next? It's going to go in the oven, and this is what it's going to look like. Oven in here. It's going to come out absolutely gorgeous, just like that. So, the way to serve this is I'll recommend either taking a knife and running a knife around the sides, and you can serve it sliced just like a pie. Definitely put a little bit of cheese on top, just because you can, and make it look wonderful. And you can always pop it back in the oven if you want to melt some cheese on top. But this, I like some fresh cheese on top once it comes to the table. Absolutely delicious. Enjoy.